So, who met Tupac first, you or Kisha Morris?
I knew him first.
So, how did Kisha Morris get in the picture?
I believe that during the time when me and him had fell out, he had met her. I don't know if he was already seeing her at the time, but when me and him fell out, they got close. And, I believe she was someone that he trusted, and he felt she was a good girl. From what he told me about her, she went to school, she worked, she wasn't out there like that. So, they got their bond going and whatever they was doing. And, that's how things fell into place. I wasn't around at the time, and she was. And then I guess when he thought he was going to get sentenced to jail, that, he would be able to get conjugal visits. And so he married her.
So Tupac married Kisha Morris for conjugal visits. So pretty much what you're saying is Tupac only married Kisha Morris for he can have sex while he was in prison.
Oh, well, I can't speak on if that's the only reason, but I know that was part of it. I don't think Pac was ready for marriage. I think the situation arose and it put him in that frame of mind.
Well, it is letters that's been online for a while now. They've been on the internet for years. And one of the letters that Tupac wrote to you while he was in prison, he's pretty much venting about his relationship with Kisha Morris. He directly tells you that Kisha Morris is immature and that he's going to divorce her. In another letter that he wrote to you, he tells you that he wants you to visit him while he's in prison and that Kisha Morris is actually going to be the one that's going to set up the visit between both of y'all. So if you don't mind, because I know some of these letters is personal, but if you don't mind, can you speak on some of these letters that Tupac used to write to you while he was in prison?
Well, mostly he didn't vent about her per se until I guess me and him got reconnected, because, he told me positive things about her. He never really said nothing negative about her. I think when he decided that he wanted me to go to LA after he got out and she was going to go too, that, she wasn't comfortable with that, as any woman shouldn't be. So that started to create problems. I would say probably the fact that he had her, contacting females and having them come and visit him probably played a big part of that also. I wouldn't be comfortable with it. So I'm pretty sure she wasn't. And that's what he vented was, that she was being insecure and jealous, but she was being, as most women would be in that, in her shoes. So that was the vent and, the conversation.
So Kisha Morris knew Tupac was talking to other women while he was talking to her, right?
Yeah, she was the one setting up them visiting him. So she definitely did know that. I mean, I guess she probably felt that, he's just seeing people and in jail, and it was like, it's nothing really that you could do there. It's like they were sleeping with him. But when he brought I'm taking Des with me to LA, that's a different story, because now it's like, okay, you're just visiting him. Y'all were friends, y'all were lovers before, but now you're talking about bringing a whole woman, somewhere, and I'm supposed to be your wife.
How do you think Kisha Morris felt about all these women visiting Tupac while he was in prison? Do you think Kisha Morris felt the type of way about that?
I don't think, as a woman, I'm going to say that she probably wasn't cool with it, but Pac commanded a certain respect, and you were going to follow his wishes, or you weren't going to really be around. I don't think she really had a choice, to be honest.
Did you ever meet Kisha Morris?
I never met her. No, we never met each other. One time, a long time ago in Club Cheetah, I was there with some people and they knew her. And I guess they were speaking to her. And once she walked away, they was like, oh, that was Keisha. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, good for her, She didn't say nothing to me. I didn't say nothing to her. I didn't know who she was when I saw her, till after the fact. But this was way after he had passed away, so maybe 10 years or so.
Did Tupac divorce Kisha Morris after he got released from prison, or did he do it while he was still in prison?
He started the annulment, not a divorce, because they never consummated the marriage in prison.
So Kisha Morris and Tupac marriage was never official?
Well, I guess if you annul it, that is a dissolution of. That's a law term that I would have to research on to see. I mean, when you get an annulment, I guess it makes the marriage disappear. But they were married. They did have a ceremony, but he did get it annulled. After it's annulled, they were not married no longer.
And just to make it clear, you do believe one of the reasons why Tupac did marry Kisha Morris is because of conjugal visits, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Because he could have just kept her as a girlfriend, but I guess he thought, they were putting him in a maximum facility that he would be allowed conjugal visits, and he wasn't.
You made a comment to me, and you told me that would have been you in Kisha Morris' shoes if you and Tupac would have never fell out about that whole motorcycle incident when Tupac seen you on another dude motorcycle. So, can you elaborate on that? What did you mean when you said that?
I believe it would have been me had we not fallen out. I mean, his boys, everybody thought he married me. They didn't know who she was, had never met her. They knew me from being in New York. When he was out there, I met all his friends, his family members. So, they didn't know. They didn't know who she was. They thought Keisha was me. I'm not trying to tarnish what they had, because, Pac loved many women. So I know he did love her.
It's another thing I want you to speak on. I already know the answer to this. Me and you already talked off the record about this, but just for the trolls in the comment section that keep saying you and Tupac was messing around while Tupac was still married to Kisha Morris, can you set the record straight on that? Was you and Tupac messing around while Tupac was still married to Kisha Morris?
No, I messed with him before he knew her. I messed with him after. But while they were married, we did nothing sexual. So he was in jail. There was no sex in jail. This is not Rikers Island. He was in a maximum security prison. The inmates sit on one side and the guests sit on the other. You can touch hands, you can kiss, but nothing more than that.
Have you ever seen that letter that Jada Pinkett sent Tupac while he was in prison? The letter that's online of Jada Pinkett pretty much telling Tupac that she thinks that Kisha Morris is not the right female for him. Have you ever seen that letter?
Well, I would too if I was in her predicament and I was his friend. He didn't know Keisha for that long. Him and Keisha linked up when I hopped off that bike around that time. So for him to marry somebody that he knew for so short of a time was crazy. But I mean, everybody knew he wasn't marrying her because he was so deeply in love that he wanted her to be his wife. He was marrying her, so she was here, conjugal visits he thought he was going to get, and, she was a good girl. I was a bad girl, But had I not broken up, had we not gone our separate ways at that point, that would have been me in those shoes. And I'm not saying, not that I would have wanted somebody to marry me because of conjugal visits.